What is going on, my wonderful furballs? It's Dr. Wookiee. We're going to talk about Mirandus today, the absolute best, most favorite, most hyped up game in Gala Games. We're going to be going through everything that they talked about in the fireside chat, which was like 2 hours long. So I try to pull out the salient points. And if you didn't know, I got to go down to Austin, meet with the team, put in all that community input. And let me tell you, Michael McCarthy and the team, they have us very, very, very well in their hands. I'm telling you, if you're not hyped about Mirandus, you absolutely should be. I don't think people understand how fast things are moving for Mirandus, and I am incredibly excited and really do think this is going to be an easy success. So let's jump into some of those, key points and run through them so that you don't have to look through the whole 2 hours if you don't want to, even though it was a great, great fireside chat. First off, quarter one into quarter one, we're going to be jumping into the first playtest. That playtest is going to be the field of battle. Essentially, what we're going to be trying to do is get as many players in there as possible so that we can try to break the server. That is the whole point. There's going to be tons of deer, and you're going to be out there supposed to be killing them. So we want to get at least like 800 players in there, really give the team a good look at how the server handles so many live things in the zone. They're shooting for 4,000 players per zone. That's the goal, right? After that's all said and done, they are going to be turning on the actual play and earn in King's March. And so essentially what's going to be happening is you can get in there, you can actually earn materium. Initially, it's going to be like 1 week, then it'll be like a reset, then maybe it'll be like 2 weeks, a little longer, maybe a reset, then like a month. The whole point trying to expand out how long we're able to go before we do any kind of like resets. And then of course seeing, do we like those resets every 3 months or do we want it to be a persistent thing? Now, the big thing that everybody really wanted to discuss, the most important aspect, right, is the economy, right? We want the economy to be super solid. So we chatted about this quite a bit. And essentially, I truly think Mirandus could easily be one of the Web3 economies that everybody else is going to be looking to for why it's so successful. Let me explain a little bit about it and just like some rationale, right? So let's say there's like a fire sword you can buy for like 5,000 materium or something, right? And you're like, man, that's a lot of materium. Yeah, but that's going to really help you against, whatever ice goblin you're trying to fight, some boss, right? And maybe that ice goblin has like 10,000 materium on him or something like that, right? So it's going to be a really cool cyclical thing. That's just one short little example, okay? So some of the other things that they discussed is basically, we talked about inventory. Inventory, we're not going to do any kind of weird the Tetris thing. It's just going to be your inventory. It fills up and then it's full, right? Spells were a huge topic because spells are going to be expensive, right? And one of the big things about Mirandus is we're going to have actual like masteries, right? So if you do something a whole bunch, you can build that mastery up. And actually with a couple of different masteries built up, you can actually end up like making a class or putting on a class. And that class will be like a major jump for you, right? And power and strength and everything. So that's going to be like the exciting points in the game. And it'll be really cool to get to a point where you're like, oh yeah, goblin, that's not too hard for me to like deal with now because this game's going to be hard. Now with spells being expensive, right? You when you use it, you'll actually be able to earn materium, okay? Because you're spending, or not earn materium, earn mastery. Because when you're spending the materium, you're going to be earning mastery. If you kill whatever it is with your spell, then of course you'll earn extra mastery. Now with all the other mastery, you don't get it until you kill the living creature, right? And that's just because with your sword as you're hacking away and stuff, you're not going to be getting mastery as you're hacking away. It's once it's dead, you're going to get a little bit of mastery boost or whatever it is. So that was a pretty cool topic that we discussed. Some of the combat contribution. Now, of course, this was the other huge thing, and we'll talk about it too when the video kind of gets there as well, but is of course the looting, right? So the looting, the reason that's so important is because sometimes people can just kind of tag along, right? Maybe they shoot a little arrow. We were calling them plinkers, right? They plink the target. And so then when it dies, they can run up and they can like loot it, right? So it's going to be set up to where that absolutely cannot happen. And they haven't designated the exact percentages, but it's going to be something like if I did 25%, say I'm the number one damager on like some big brute, and I did 25% of the damage. That means everybody else who's with me had to do at least 25% of my damage dealt, right? To be like eligible to be able to like open up and look and see what the loot is on there to be able to loot. Um, Now, one of the cool things that they really talked about is essentially when you go up to loot, you open it up, you see all the items, you can click on something, and then there'll be a little timer. Let's say it's like a 3 or 4 second timer before that item gets pulled. And so you can kind of see it on the image right here as they're showing it. So little timers kind of going, and that's so that the other players, they can come up, they can open it up, and they can see what else is there and what is not being chosen right now. And then they can click. And of course, you can only click one thing at a time. Once that's taken, then you can choose something else. Now, the benefit of this is if you're a front man and you have a hammer and you're an axe and you're taking all the damage and the risk of dying, then of course you're the first person there to kind of open it up and start looting, right? So you kind of almost get first pick. And of course, if we were guild and friends, then of course you guys can talk about and trade or whatever like that. Now, one of the big contentious things was, well, what about healers? What about monks, right? How do they contribute? Well, they don't because they didn't damage the creature. So the way it's essentially going to be set up is if you want a monk or a healer or a bard to be with you, you need to pay that bard healer materium, right? Basically, it's going to have a lot of trust, guild members, stuff like that. You're going to get to know people, right? You're going to be like, oh, hey, Wookiee, he's the best healer, yada, yada, yada. He only charges, 1,000 materium to go with you on whatever quest it is. Or, you make other deals about like, well, I get first pick of, what is on there, such and such like that. Okay. So that's going to kind of how it's going to work initially. See how that kind of, evolves as we go. Now, of course, if you're the only person who killed it, you can just open it up and click this button, take all, right? That makes sense. And then after like 10 minutes or so, the body will release and anybody can like loot it then if there was still something left on it. Or when you click, there'll be a button that you can just say like, leave it or like, open this up so other people can take it, of course. Or you can pick it up and then trade with, whoever your friends are or whatnot. Now, when you die, right? Cemeteries are a big part of Mirandus. When you die, there's going to be like a 30-minute timer, I believe, is like what it's going to be set at. Then you're going to be in Purgatory, and we'll see some of those Purgatory images here soon as well. And of course, you can pay materium to resurrect sooner, and you can pay materium so you don't lose mastery and experience, right? Now they're showing the torches right now. Essentially, you're going to be able to make a torch. It won't be as good as like a lantern of the sun, right? It won't shine as far. It won't have any magical properties. And of course, it will burn out, and there will actually be a little timer in your little heads-up display. You can see how long your torch is going to last. But that'll be a cool addition so that at nighttime, other people can actually have torches if they're not with somebody with a lantern of the sun. However, I think lantern of the sun will do more than simply casting out light. I think there's a great chance that maybe you have to have it to be able to access a certain dungeon or something cool like that, right? And so here's Purgatory. They're showing you a little gate here. You'll be able to talk with other friends and folks. They're still working on that chat game, but what they want to do is probably set it up as like a push to talk default. And so wherever you're around, you of course can, chat with your friends or chat with people around you, which can be really, really fun. And of course, they're showing the different images of the cemeteries. That is the big, great, grand cemetery. And then you'll see the large one and then the typical cemetery. So of course, those are going to be important. In your heads up display, there is a little revive charm. You cannot de-equip it. It will be there forever. But what you can do is when you go up to a cemetery, you can click bind. What that means is when you die, you will bind yourself to that cemetery, and that's where you will resurrect. So of course, as you progress in the game or you find a favorite town or whatever, that's where you bind yourself to. So that's some of the pretty cool aspects that we talked about as well. So those are some of the really, really big pieces, right? Especially the looting and the materium. And of course, when you walk up and there's materium on a creature, it'll be broken up. So it won't be like, oh, 1,000 materium, obviously click, I want that. It'll be broken up. So maybe it'll be like 100 here, 150 there, 200 there, 50 there. That's how the materium will kind of be broke up. So that, when you kill and slay a big monster, obviously we know there's gonna be a lot of guild members or folks who fought and killed it, and so you're going to want to have a good chance of being able to get something. Now, don't forget, if you know the market and you know what's expensive or worth a lot of materium, maybe you see like that tooth or that horn or something else, and that's worth way more than any of the materium on there, and so that's the first item that you grab. I think this is going to be really fun. I got to run around March. Ooh, should I say that? King's March. I may have played for a few minutes while we were down in Austin, kind of checking it out, just looking around and stuff. So that was pretty exciting, pretty fun to run around. I forgot how fast you die when you're just like starting out from the goblins. They hit hard. And then the cool thing too now is the AI, the boss or the monsters, they're smarter. So they won't be shooting each other. And yes, that's right. Goblins will shoot now. They're bow and arrows, but they'll kind of spread out. They'll kind of get around you, kind of encompass you, so that they can, try to kill you better. That includes wolves and stuff too. Things travel in packs, so just makes it even more powerful that you really need a good group of friends, guild members, whatever, because man, if you see a pack of wolves, that is scary. But that also means that you'll have like a pack of deer run around together as well. In the next playtest, if you have a Vox Charm that matches your exemplar, of course, you'll be able to get a XP boost. I think it's 30% if it matches. And don't forget, if you die, you can log off and log in with a different exemplar and play. It's just that exemplar, right, isn't going to have like certain items or whatnot. If you don't want to wait for the 30-minute timer. But remember, your masteries, they'll get knocked down if you don't pay materium to return to life. Now, they did show some runes in this fireside chat, and there is some kind of language in Mirandus, so obviously that's going to be super important. So all you smart folks definitely be working on getting good images in the games and stuff and seeing if we can figure it out, because I guarantee Michael McCarthy is going to be setting some awesome sneaky secret things in the game. I'm super excited to explore and of course die, because that's going to be obviously happening a lot. But truly, some folks have like made comments sometimes with this game of like, oh, the graphics aren't that good. That's how the game is supposed to look, right? I mean, it's this cool, fantasy world. I love the design. I really do. I like the way everything looks. It really, brings me back to like RuneScape days and just all the fun that we had there. And what you have to remember too, with a game like this big RPG, they're going to continue to be adding zones, continue to be building. And as they do that, and as they continue to just make the world bigger and bigger, this game is going to go on for a long time. Think about Skyrim, RuneScape, and how many years and years and years and years go by, and the game continues because it's just so much fun. Now, with the deeds and the buildings, now initially in this playtest, I don't remember. Actually, I think you are going to be able to place deeds and buildings in this playtest. Of course, you have to get to the location first and then basically place it. If you own like a city or something, you will be able to determine stuff of like, hey, I don't want 10 cemeteries in my one town. I want a kind of a spread. But I believe with the buildings, there's going to be some like automatic placements where you're able to actually sell materium and sell things for materium and actually buy things with materium as well. So be interesting to see how it kind of gets set up. And of course, with the resets, you'll have to basically be ready to try to, secure those spots that you like for your deeds and things like that. So very interesting. There will be a kingdom tax basically with revivals on cemetery. And then of course, anybody who owns the cemetery can add their separate kind of tax on top of that. So you'll definitely be seeing that. Oh, whew, man, there's a lot of stuff so far. I think I covered kind of the big salient points. There were so many things said in this 2-hour fireside chat. So if you do get a chance, you can always throw it on double speed when you're driving to work, and maybe you get through it in a couple days or something. But those are some of the pretty much big points of what they covered in the fireside chat, as well as what we kind of talked about in Austin. One thing that I really want, because there's no RNG, somebody dies and that's like what's on the body, and you go up and pick. What I would love to see, just because this always hits my dopamine so hard, is when you kill that boss, that big creature, maybe there's a dais behind him or a big chest or something, and the only way to open that chest is when that big guy has died. And when you go up to that chest, basically you personally, that's when your little dice or your little spin the wheel happens, right? So you open that chest, there's one item in there, and you had like a 87% chance of getting one of his a tooth of whatever, some horned dragon or whatever, or now there's a 15% chance of you picking up a red orb of whatever, and then there's a like 0.001% chance of you finding a the sword of lightning or just something incredible. And I think that would be kind of a cool way for the RNG to kind of play in. I don't know if they've been building any kind of RNG stuff like that, but that's something that I would just absolutely love, is to be hearing stories of like, a certain person went in there, they were able to destroy this monster, and that one person in that guild or that group of friends got so lucky, that 1 in 1,000 chance or whatever, 1 in 10,000 chance, that they were able to pull that out of that like special chest, magical chest or whatever. that was just my thoughts, my considerations. Yeah, I definitely just want to say thanks to the team. Everything is looking so good. I mean, the art that they show, the concept art, they really do a good job of turning it into the levels. And I think they have so much built right now. It's just getting it really polished for these zones, to start to release them to us. So whew, man, I hope everybody is ready. I really do think Mirandus is crazy bullish, is going to be crazy incredible. And I can't believe that you can get like a human exemplar for $60 right now. It blows my mind. So make sure you get some of those exemplars picking up, because whenever the renting turns on and stuff, it'll be really fun if we have a good, big community coming on. So, my friends, that's all I have for you. I will let the rest of this kind of run out in case you want to watch some of the other things that I pulled out of the fireside chat, and I'll leave you with a little music from City of Sound. As always, stay warm, Wookiees.
The bridge is burned, terror underneath. Your life face down, killers fill the streets. You made the attempt, searching for why. Lost that name while looking for a sign. Should've looked inside. We spoke in vain, always out of reach. And shower your blame, curse the ground beneath. Let out a cry, a fall to the earth. You may survive, but you won't return. And feel like waves are drowning in the deep, bound to break upon anything. May I remind you how the world was made. Dust to life for the price of grace. So when the sky falls, stay around, my love. For when the sky falls, you can become. When the sky falls, stay around, my love. For when the sky falls, and each step like learning how to breathe. A death to pride allows one to see the giants wait, and demons call the sweetest place, nothing at all. When the sky falls, stay around, my love. For when the sky falls, truth abused to serve a selfish hand, destroying the past so one can live. The miracle of life isn't to exist, to go beyond to find what lies within. So when the sky falls, stay around, my love. For when the sky falls, then you shall become.